nothing. He just looked at me, grinning, and said, "Next time, you're going to sleep here too."
What are you trying to say,
2
bro?
weeks after that upsetting
trying to lay down the
experience, I
sauce.
went
What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another... Oh, shoot. What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another video of these scary stories. So right now, we're doing January to February. No, scratch that. January to April. Yeah, January to April. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure we already did April. But if we see a story that we already saw, I'm just going to totally skip it. But I'm also going to put the link down in the description if you guys want to see the full video. But right now, we're doing January to February. So let's see where this takes us. So without further ado, roll the clip, man. I met the guy who ate human flesh.
This happened when I was in college. I was 20 at the time, studying for an upcoming exam in biology. That is, until my roommate busted in my room. She wasn't yelling, but I could see she was drunk by her excitement. I rolled my eyes and sighed. I completely lost focus now. But it was okay. I'd kind of gotten used to her behavior. She was a party girl while I was, well, a nerd. I tried to get back on my reading tracks again, but she patted me on the back and drunkenly giggled before speaking. "Come on, Jasmine. Every time I see you, you're always reading a book." I sighed before speaking. "And every time I see you, you smell of alcohol and vomit." She frowned at me. "How about this? I'll be quiet all week if you come to this party tomorrow at 8. I wanted to say no.
Don't do it,
then
girl.
I thought about it. I mean, I do always work really hard. Besides, she won't barge in like this for the whole week? Sounds too good, I thought to myself. So I nodded and continued to read. We got ready. I hadn't dressed up in ages, so I was kind of excited. The party was loud, filled with drunk people making out, bumping and dancing. The party was hosted in a basement-like setting.
Wow.
Only it was much bigger and had a lot of space. I'm not going to lie, I did have a few drinks.
A lot of space for a basement.
I wasn't drunk, but I was definitely tipsy. So, as my view became tilted, this guy comes out of nowhere and has small talk with me. He was fairly attractive. He didn't seem drunk. We met and exchanged names. From what I remember, he had red dyed hair and blue eyes. He was white and about 6 feet. His name was Luke. We laughed and talked about topics like studying and books and that kind of thing. The talking went on for about a half an hour. He then said, "Hey, I'm going to get another drink. Want anything?" And I said, "Why not? I mean, I'm having fun." So later on, he came back with drinks. And the next thing I remember, we were making out in the corner of the party room. It was so quick, and then he asked me, "Want to go back to my place?" Which I politely declined. I already know what he wants. Besides, I needed to be on campus in the morning. "Come on, I promise it will be fun." I remember that he kept on trying to get me to go, but he gave up after I made it clear I wasn't interested in going to his place. He rolled his eyes angrily and gave me a paper with a number on it. "Fine. If you change your mind, give me a call." He leaned close to me and whispered against my ear. Then he walked out, and the rest of the night was a complete blank.
Yeah,
the next day, I woke up inside my college bedroom, on my bed, next to my roommate snoring on her bed as well. As I got up to shower, a paper fell out of my pocket. It was the number, which made me remember that guy. But I had more important things now. I showered then and went to study. I remember reading my book when all of a sudden I felt dizzy. Then I woke up in the bed with police officers and nurses talking next to me.
Damn.
Turns out I had this dangerous allergic reaction that could only be caused from saliva or any bodily fluids that had come from decaying or rotting flesh. Which to my surprise was weird. I hadn't been kissing anyone, let alone ate anything raw. Then I remembered the guy. I told the police about the guy at the party and gave them the number he gave me. A few weeks passed and my allergies went down so I could live my life normally. I just finished my test when my phone rang. I answered it, and it was the police. Turns out the guy from the party had 2 dead, decaying women's bodies inside his apartment that he ate. They must have been there for months. My heart dropped.
This man a cannibal.
I thought that I made out with someone who ate human flesh. Or even worse,
disgusting.
was what if I had agreed to come to his place? may have been one of those bodies.
Oh man. Astra Project.
When I was in the 7th
forgot.
grade, I heard about astral projection for the first time and thought the idea seemed pretty cool. Who wouldn't want an out-of-body experience and travel around the world? Anyways, I've been attempting it for several months to no
lucid
avail.
dreaming?
I did doubt it wasn't real and eventually stopped attempting it. Then one day on a January, I decided to hit the bed at around 7 p.m.
that's
to
real.
take a
If
nap,
he's talking about
and the
lucid
next
dreaming,
second
that's
I
real.
began to
I've
feel
done it
I was
before.
being pulled out of my body as a strong vibration feeling overcame me, similar to that body feeling you get from a strong nicotine rush. I then was
looks
floating
like
in my
12.
room
What
and
is he
felt a
talking about?
presence
Some
right
nicotine
behind
rush,
me,
bro?
but didn't think much of it. It wasn't a good presence, more of a demonic one. Despite there being my family in the home awake, I didn't see anyone there,
You're not built
and
for it, I
only the
wouldn't mess
light
with
that
it.
illuminated the stairway was on. Everything also had a blue tint to it, and I could see clearly in the dark. I had to swim through the air to be able to move and went through my door and swam my way downstairs. I decided to go up and through the ceiling and then through the roof and explore this new plane of existence. However, as I went through the ceiling, I saw this creature rushing towards the stairs, and it stopped as soon as I stopped moving to see it.
Damn.
I could only see the back of it from the right side of it since it was blocked by a wall, but
that
it had
reverse
yellow
flash?
skin, pointy, elongated ears, a tail that's medium-sized, and it appeared to be as tall as I was at the time, 5'6". I stared at it for a few seconds, frozen in fear, and before I knew it, I was awake, back in my bed.
That's crazy.
I looked at my clock and several minutes had passed by. I don't know what to think of that, but it was an interesting experience.
My invisible playmate. When I did the lucid dreaming,
When I was 8
it's
years
sort of
old,
like similar.
I didn't have any
But
friends.
I went more
My
into
mom
depth
wouldn't
about
allow
it,
me to
like,
play outside with the
I
other
was
kids in
using,
our
like, Goku
neighborhood.
instant
I
transmission
was
or like go
always
from one place to
alone.
another.
The only playmates
But
I
that is
had
true,
were my
like,
cousins and my
things-
brother,
if you're not
but
careful with
it
it,
took
things
3
can follow
hours
you.
and 25 minutes to get to their houses. One day, my mom let me play outside with the kids in our neighborhood for the first time because she was going somewhere, maybe to work or to run errands. I got my dolls and other toys and was excited to play with the kids outside. When I got there, no one wanted to play with me. The attempt was useless, but then someone approached me. He had puppy eyes and was cute. We quickly became playmates. Even though he was a boy, he would join me for tea parties with my dolls. He
Sus.
also invited me to play with him at his house. But I was confused because his house looked old and abandoned. Like it hadn't been cleaned up for almost 12 years. We decided to go play in his garden. When we got there, I puked. I didn't know why at the time, but for some reason, I was disgusted. He didn't offer me water or anything. He just looked at me grinning and said, "Next time, you're going to sleep here too."
What are you trying to say,
2
bro?
weeks after that upsetting
You trying to lay down the
experience, I went
sauce.
looking for him. A paper airplane flew to me out of nowhere. I picked it up, and when I opened it, I was shocked, scared, and sad. It was a newspaper clipping. The boy that I played with went missing 9 years ago.
Damn.
I ran to my bedroom, and I saw a shadow through my window. I looked at it closely, and it was the boy. He was smiling. Today, I'm 19 years old, and I still remember that part of my childhood so clearly.
A man who escaped from prison broke into my house.
One day, when I was about 6 or 7 years old, my mom had gone to my older sister's recital in Georgia, and my dad was at work. He was a pilot for some airline. So she left me and my older brother, who was only 12 at the time, at the sitter's house, which was a few blocks away from my house. My sitter, who I'm gonna call Bev, was 19, and she was pretty much the best kind of sitter to a 6 to 7-year-old boy could ask for. She'd let us play games and stay up watching TV, as long as we didn't bother her while she was on the phone with her boyfriend. We were watching TV, and we could hear something scratching the paneling on the side of the house. Naturally, we blew it off as a stray animal, so we continued watching TV. About 30 minutes to an hour later, Bev ran into the living room and locked the front door and shut the blinds. We were curious as to what she was doing. Me and my brother, being kids, got scared and started crying. Then Bev said everything would be okay. It was just a peeping Tom. So she took us upstairs and we went to her parents' room with the Nintendo and some snacks. She said stay put and not to touch anything we didn't bring into the room. Not a minute later after she walked out of the room, we heard a loud crash and glass shattering in the room below us. The sicko had thrown a brick from the walkway through the guest bedroom window and managed to get in.
He got in?
I remember Bev running into the room and pulling us into the closet and telling us we were going to play a game of hide and seek and to be very quiet. She got out of the closet and locked it from the outside latch and disappeared.
Where's she going? She just left them?
Several minutes passed and we could hear a grown man screaming, come out, wherever you are. I only want to play.
Oh, yo, Frankenstein head ass, bro.
Then I heard what sounded like water running in the bathroom
taking a piss.
Across from the closet.
Oh, no,
Then it shut off. And I heard Bev yelling something at the man. It was something like, the police are on their way. You better get out of my fucking house now. Then we could hear loud, heavy footsteps sprinting out of the room, and then sirens wailing in the distance. Bev shrieked, and we heard a loud thud on the ground below us.
He got shot?
Bev had managed to find an old wooden bat. As the man turned a corner to go out the front door, Bev swung the bat as hard as she could, knocking the man to the floor. Dazed, he got up and tried chasing her outside, but the cops had already arrived and tackled the man on site.
You didn't even feel that hit, man.
My mom came home immediately and took me, my brother, and Bev back to my house. A few years later, she explained that the man was a known sex offender and had escaped from prison. In the report, he was said to be carrying a rather large knife in his pocket.
So that's what that was.
And had a Saturday night special tucked away in the waist of his
scratching
pants.
his knife against the window or something. School lockdown, bro. I've had like 6 of those, bro. They're
It
horrible.
happened last year, 2018, when I was still in my second year of high school.
Except when it's
It was earlier March that I was in school. We were just playing some quiz game on my laptop. I connected it to the projector for all of them to see. But then suddenly the school's fire alarm went off. They said this isn't a drill, but rather a maniac just entered our school with a gun. So all of us closed the door and the window to our classroom and switched off the lights. It was all silent, like you could hear a pin drop to the floor. At first I wasn't panicking that much, but it all started to happen when a gunshot was heard from the distance of our room. I can assume that he already knows that we're here. We are the closest room from the entry hall. Every single one of my classmates was crying. I'm the tallest and the oldest student of them all. I'm 16 and some of them are 15 and 14 and another one is 12. So I thought, I'm the oldest. I should protect them. And I was like that. So then I grabbed the fire extinguisher in our room, because every single room in my school has a fire blanket and a fire extinguisher, just in case of a fire. I had a stupid plan inside my head that I'll spray him with the fire extinguisher. So, and I opened our room door, and I came across it.
Bro.
He was a middle-aged man,
He has a strap.
wearing a white tank and black slacks.
He has a strap.
He was holding a .44 Magnum caliber revolver. At first, we were having a quick draw match, like that.
What kind of quick draw?
He grabbed his gun first.
It's
and
a
pulls
fire
the trigger.
extinguisher versus
I can
a
feel
gun,
my heart
bro.
beating fast. And just then he aimed the gun at me, but it didn't shoot at all. He forgot to cock his gun. So then it's my chance to hit him with the fire extinguisher and knock him out.
Yeah.
After that, the police arrived and every student was reunited with their family.
Bro. I'm sorry, bro.
And still,
sorry. I'd be
I'm
laughing.
wondering,
I'd be laughing.
what could have happened if he didn't forget to cock his gun and shoot me first?
Or not just that, bro. It's a .44 Magnum, bro. Your whole head would have been gone.
My name is Magda, and I'm 26 years old. I work in an office in the city. On the weekends, I used to love to get away from all the hustle and bustle and take a trip to the countryside. Luckily, I have a cottage in a small village which is located right at the edge of the forest. How I used to love to get out of the city and spend the weekend in my little cottage. Why did I stop? Well, I'll tell you. After a hard week at work, I needed to rest, so I decided to get out of town. I went home, packed my bags, threw them in the trunk, and drove off. When I arrived in the village, it was late in the evening and I was tired from the long drive. I went straight to bed and fell asleep quickly. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the sound of my car alarm going off. I looked out the window, but there was nobody in sight. I found my car keys, pressed the button to shut off the alarm, and the awful noise stopped. I laid back down and tried to fall asleep. All of a sudden, the alarm went off again. I didn't feel like getting up, so I just grabbed my keys and pressed the button once more. Everything was peaceful and quiet again. However, 5 minutes later, the alarm went off a third time. Once or twice could have been an accident, but now I was wondering what was going on. Could someone be playing tricks on me in the middle of the night? I got up again and pressed the button to turn off the alarm. But this time, I didn't lay back down. I stood at the curtains and watched. After a few minutes, I saw something by the light of the moon. A shadow emerged from the bushes and slowly approached the car. I could just about make out the shape. It was something tall, skinny, and black. The figure reached out with its long, thin arms and knocked on the car. The alarm went off again, and quick as a flash, the dark figure retreated back into the bushes. At that moment, I realized what was going on and began shaking with fear. I turned off the alarm and continued to watch. The thing emerged from the bushes again, slid silently over to the gates, threw a hand through them, and removed the partition holding the gates closed. I was paralyzed with fear, and I couldn't move. My mind was overcome by panic thoughts. What was it? What did it want from me? What was it doing? Would it ever go away? A shiver ran through my body, from my head down to my toes. My mouth was dry and my heart was beating fast. I was so tense, I was gritting my teeth and clenching my hands into fists. I regained control of myself and ran down the stairs as fast as my legs could carry me to the ground
This reminds me of
floor.
Hush.
I wanted to look for something I could use to protect myself. However, just as I was about to switch on the lights, I suddenly froze in my tracks. The dark figure was at the window. It was pressed up against the glass, staring in, looking to see whether or not there was someone home. I immediately ducked down behind the sofa and peered out. That's when I realized what all those tricks with the car were for.
To see if someone
It was trying to lure its victim outside. I couldn't take my eyes off its hideous face. Its skin was the color of ash and covered with wrinkles. Its eyes were small, beady, and completely black. Instead of it having a nose, there were 2 ragged holes. It didn't have any lips, just 2 rows of sharp, yellow teeth. When it breathed, it was so heavy and hoarse that it was misting up the window. I just knew it wasn't going to go away. After standing at the window for a few moments, I heard a rustling noise as it came to the front door. I watched as it tried to push its fingers through the gap under the door. The handle began to twitch wildly up and down. The creature emitted a chilling sound. It was not like a human voice. It was a deep, beastly growl, like an angry dog chewing on a bone. I knew that if it heard me, it would keep trying until it found a way to get into the house. I crouched down behind the sofa, hiding in the shadows and desperately trying not to make a sound. Tears began involuntarily streaming down my face, no matter how much I tried to stop them. I could feel my pulse pounding in my temples, and I was shaking like a leaf, just waiting for it to end. I don't know how long I cowered there. I must have been passed out. When I woke up and looked out the window, the creature was gone. The door was still in place and everything seemed secure. I've never been so relieved in all my life. I ran upstairs and looked out the window. It was light
You're a real
outside,
one.
and there was no sign of anything wrong. Taking a chance, I grabbed my keys, and without stopping to collect any of my things, I ran out to the car. I jumped in, locked the doors, and drove away from the village as fast as I could. I didn't stop driving until I got back to the city. When I got back to my apartment, I turned on the radio and heard a news report. The announcer said that, in the village, the dead bodies of 2 girls had been discovered. Their corpses had been
man, that could've
mutilated
been
and
you.
dumped in a swamp. I guess the creature found what it was looking for. I don't want to, but I am
You
curious
got a
to
lot
know.
of cannibals.
What would have happened if I didn't make the right decision of sprinting?
Alright, boys, we're gonna stop it right there. Thank you guys for tuning in so much for today's episode of the Scary Stories. I told y'all I was coming. I told y'all, man. Trust me. When I say I got y'all, I got y'all. Yeah, guys. We're gonna finish this off. What is it? Yeah, we're gonna finish this off because I think we're on the last part for 2019. I don't want to do 2020 yet because the year isn't over. So after that, we're gonna move on to 2018, and we're gonna do the same thing, and we're gonna go on reverse until 2020 is over. So yeah, I mean, so far so good, man. A lot of cannibals. That's weird, bro. That's weird. That lucid dreaming though, that really like gave me chills, man. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for the next part of this. And oh yeah. Also, I honestly had to take a break from Last of Us, bro. That last mission, if you guys see it, you guys know what I'm talking about, bro. Like that last mission had me drained, bro. It had me drained, bro. I was literally about to give up on that game, bro. Like, that's how drained they got me. And I don't really do that, bro. I'm not the type to give up. Like, I'm not built like that. But that game almost made me quit, bro. Like, it was so frustrating on that level, man. But I'm gonna tackle it again and finish off the game because I did make a promise, and I'm gonna finish that game before Last of Us 2 comes out. So I am gonna finish it. But yeah, guys, that's all I needed to say, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for the second part of this series, and I'm out.